There are 7 states in this country right now where retiring as a queer person could cost you your legal protections, your healthcare access, and potentially tens of thousands of dollars. And the wild part? Some of them are states that retirees flock to every single year because of the weather or the low cost of living, without realizing what they're walking into. I'm going to break down the 7 worst states for LGBTQ plus retirees in 2026, exactly what makes each one dangerous for us, and then I'll tell you where to go instead. States that actually want us there and will protect us when we get there. But I have to be honest with you. State number 4 genuinely shocked me when I was researching this. Let's get into it. Before we go state by state, here's how I picked these 7. I looked at 3 things. 1, legal protections. Does this state have non-discrimination laws that cover sexual orientation and gender identity in housing, healthcare, and employment? Because when you're retired, you're more dependent on these protections than at any other point in your life. 2, active hostility. Are lawmakers in this state currently passing or pushing anti-LGBTQ plus legislation? Not just old laws on the books, new ones, in 2026. 3, the retirement-specific stuff. What does the healthcare landscape look like? What happens if your partner gets sick? What legal protections exist for your surviving spouse? I pulled data from the Movement Advancement Project, the ACLU's 2026 anti-LGBTQ plus bill tracker, the Human Rights Campaign's State Equality Index, and SafeHome.org's LGBTQ plus safety report cards. All right, let's count them down, and I saved the worst for last. Alabama has 0 statewide non-discrimination laws protecting LGBTQ plus people. Not in employment, not in housing, not in healthcare, not in public accommodations. None. Here's what that means in real life. Your landlord can refuse to rent to you because you're gay, and it's completely legal. A hospital can turn you away. An assisted living facility can deny your partner visitation, and the state says that's fine. Alabama also has no hate crime laws covering sexual orientation or gender identity. So if something happens to you because of who you are, the state doesn't even classify it as what it is. And for our trans family members, Alabama has banned gender-affirming healthcare for minors, still allows conversion therapy on young people, and has a "don't say gay" law in schools. That tells you everything you need to know about the direction this state is heading. I get the appeal. Low cost of living, warm weather, no state tax on Social Security, but those savings don't mean much if the state won't protect you when it matters most. State 6, Arkansas. Arkansas does everything Alabama does. No non-discrimination protections, banned gender-affirming care for youth, don't say gay in schools, forced outing of LGBTQ plus students, but it goes one step further that really sets it apart. Arkansas actively bans cities and local governments from passing their own non-discrimination ordinances. Read that again. Even if a city like Fayetteville or Little Rock wanted to protect its LGBTQ plus residents, the state says no. That's not just failing to protect people. That's making sure no one else can either. They've also passed laws targeting drag performances using vague adult performance language, which in practice creates a chilling effect on queer visibility and community events. If you're thinking, well, I'd stick to the more progressive pockets, the state has literally made that impossible from a legal standpoint. State 5, Missouri. Missouri might surprise some people on this list because Kansas City and St. Louis have historically been welcoming. But the state government has been on an absolute tear. In 2026, Missouri's legislature kicked off the session with a wave of anti-LGBTQ plus bills. The State House has already heard multiple anti-trans bills this session alone. On top of that, the governor signed an executive order revoking state funding for diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. And the legislature is now trying to codify that into law with bills that would strip funding from any state agency doing DEI work. GLAAD has flagged Missouri as a state requiring early organizing and coalition building because the legislative environment is so hostile. Here's the retirement angle no one talks about. Missouri taxes Social Security benefits for higher earners. The cost of living isn't as low as people assume in the metro areas, and the legal landscape for surviving same-sex partners is thin. If you're weighing cheap housing against legal vulnerability, that's not a trade-off, that's a trap. State 4, Kansas. This is the one that shocked me. In 2026, Kansas passed SB 244. This law immediately invalidated the driver's licenses of transgender people across the entire state. Overnight, trans Kansans woke up with IDs the state no longer recognized as valid. But it doesn't stop there. SB 244 also bans transgender people from using restrooms matching their gender identity in government buildings. And here's the part that made my jaw drop. It authorizes any person to sue anyone they suspect of being transgender for using the wrong restroom. That's not a hypothetical. That's a bounty system on real people. In 2026, in America, lawmakers forced this bill through by suspending normal legislative rules and blocking public participation. The ACLU has already filed a lawsuit on behalf of 2 transgender Kansas residents, but the law is currently in effect. If you're a queer retiree considering Kansas for its affordable cost of living, please hear me clearly. This state is moving backward at speed. And when a state starts legislating who gets to have a valid ID, that affects everything: your banking, your healthcare, your ability to vote. State 3, Tennessee. Tennessee has been on the leading edge of anti-LGBTQ+ legislation for years now, and it hasn't slowed down. The state passed one of the first anti-drag performance laws in the country. While courts have pushed back on some of these laws, the intent is clear, and the chilling effect on LGBTQ+ community spaces is real. Pride events, fundraisers, community gatherings, all of it becomes legally risky. Tennessee has no statewide non-discrimination protections for LGBTQ+ people. It's banned gender-affirming care for minors. It's passed school sports bans for trans students. And its hate crime laws? They don't cover sexual orientation or gender identity. Nashville is wonderful. I'm not going to pretend it isn't. But your legal protections as a queer person don't change at the Nashville city limits. State law follows you to the hospital, the nursing home, and the courtroom. For retirees specifically, Tennessee's lack of a state income tax looks attractive on paper. But when you factor in the complete absence of legal infrastructure to protect your relationship, your healthcare decisions, or your surviving partner, that 0% tax rate comes with a very real cost. State 2, Florida. I know, a lot of queer people love Florida. The beaches, the nightlife, the Keys, the retirement communities. And I need to be real with you. The culture in places like Fort Lauderdale, Miami Beach, and St. Pete is genuinely vibrant and affirming. But the state government is in a different reality. Florida was the birthplace of Don't Say Gay. It's banned gender-affirming care for minors. It's passed bathroom laws that make it a criminal offense for trans people to use facilities matching their identity. And in one of the most extreme moves in the country, Florida is pursuing fraud charges against transgender people who updated the gender marker on their driver's licenses, calling it misrepresenting their gender on official documents. Think about what that means. A trans person who went through the legal process to update their documents can now be criminally prosecuted for it. That's not just hostile policy, that's weaponizing the legal system against people's identities. For retirees, here's the financial piece. Florida has no state income tax and no estate tax, which is why so many people move there. But Equality Florida has had to mobilize hundreds of volunteers just to stop anti-LGBTQ plus bills from passing every single session. In 2025, they defeated every one. But this is a state where your rights exist because advocates fight for them year after year, not because the government protects them. That's an exhausting place to grow old. State 1, Texas. Texas is the most hostile state in the country for LGBTQ plus people in 2026, and it's not close. Texas has introduced more anti-trans legislation than any other state. It's targeted trans youth, their parents, and their healthcare providers with laws that have been described as state-sponsored harassment. The state has investigated families of trans children for child abuse, simply for providing medically recommended care. And then there's Odessa, Texas, where a bathroom bounty law incentivizes people to report and turn in anyone they suspect of using a restroom that doesn't match their assigned gender at birth, for cash. Texas has no statewide non-discrimination protections, no hate crime protections covering gender identity in meaningful ways, no healthcare mandates for LGBTQ plus people. And the political leadership has made targeting our community a central platform priority. Now, Austin, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, these cities have incredible queer communities and local protections. I'm not erasing that, but state law overrides city ordinances on the issues that matter most for retirees: healthcare directives, estate recognition, and facility access. If you're retiring in Texas, you are betting your safety and your legal rights on the assumption that your city protections will hold against a state government that has shown repeatedly that it wants them gone. That's a bet I wouldn't take with my retirement. Where to go instead? All right, I promised you alternatives. And these aren't just safe states. These are states where you can retire affordably, comfortably, and with the legal protections you deserve. If you want warm weather and low taxes, look at Nevada. No state income tax, no tax on Social Security, and over the past 15 years, Nevada has passed dozens of laws protecting LGBTQ plus rights. The safehome.org report card ranks it in the top 5 nationally. Las Vegas gets all the attention, but Reno and Henderson are affordable, growing, and welcoming. If you want affordable Northeast charm, look at Maine or Vermont. Maine was ranked the #1 state for LGBTQ plus retirees by retirementliving.com. Strong anti-discrimination laws, affordable housing compared to other New England states, and a senior population that's already well established. Vermont is right behind it. Comprehensive protections, healthcare access for trans residents, and a quality of life that's hard to beat. If you want a progressive Western state without California prices, look at Colorado or New Mexico. Colorado is a sanctuary state for gender-affirming care, has 3 cities with perfect HRC Municipal Equality Index scores, and Denver, Fort Collins, and Boulder are all thriving. New Mexico offers broad legal protections and a cost of living that's significantly lower than the coasts. If you want an under-the-radar pick, Rhode Island. It's the top-ranked state in the country on safehome.org's LGBTQ plus safety report card. 98% of law enforcement agencies report hate crime data. Comprehensive protections since 2001. And Providence is genuinely affordable compared to Boston or New York. Here's the bottom line. You worked your whole life for this retirement. You deserve to enjoy it somewhere that sees you, protects you, and doesn't make you fight for basic dignity. And if you want to go deeper on this, I made a video breaking down the safest countries for LGBTQ plus travelers that a lot of retirees are using for international options too. It's right here. If this video helped you, or if you know someone who's planning a retirement move right now, send it to them. This is the kind of information that can change someone's entire trajectory. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I put out new videos every week breaking down money, retirement, and financial planning specifically for our community. Nobody else is going to do it for us, so let's do it together. I'll see you in the next one.